In 2012, much to my surprise, I had to make the decision to move back home due to some results of the recession. I wasn't able to afford tuition and my dorming anymore. And so I was really lost about where to apply to. Honestly, I hadn't looked at any schools in the DMV because I wanted to leave initially, and I knew that I had to return back home, and I now had the maturity to know that there were amazing schools back home, but I just wasn't really sure about where. And I actually found out about UMBC on social media. Some of my friends had posted about attending the school or attending an event here, and I was really curious about it because I had never heard of this honors university before, and I was like, sounds like somewhere I should be. So I applied, and what I really loved about UMBC is that I felt like it was the only school that took a genuine interest in my transfer application and an interest in me as a person, and that really stood out. And so when I received my acceptance letters, UMBC is the school I decided to choose because of the interest that it had placed in me, and I was really happy about that decision. Come 2012 in the fall, that's the first time I stepped foot on the campus in person, and the hospitality blew me away, transparently. I was used to colleges kind of feeling like, okay, you're back to school, but this one really felt like home. And I met some of my best friends to this day that first week of school, and it really felt like UMBC could be a place that I could plant and root myself within the community and within my education. At that time, I still didn't know what I wanted to major in or what I wanted to focus on in my career, and we didn't necessarily have a business major, as I'm sure you all know, so I went the route of economics at first. And I did enjoy economics, but I started to feel like accounting is not going to work for me, and you needed that to pass the economics course. So I started rethinking some things, and I just didn't know what the spring would have in store for me. So come 2013 spring, everything I thought I knew about what I wanted to do or I thought I wanted to study really changed for me. But it also happened because I deepened my experience at UMBC. I joined the African Student Association. I took Africana Studies classes, including West African History with Dr. Chuku. And I started to realize that I was feeling a calling to really serve my community in whatever way that took shape in my career. And I was interested in seeing what I could do, not to just advance myself, but also to advance the community and the cultures and the people that I love and I also grew up as. Growing up Ghanaian American, I was always proud of my culture and my heritage, but I honestly never really imagined having a career or pursuing a career that would also advance that society and advance us here in the U.S. And so I would say 2013 is when I really started to think about that, and it's the semester that I made up my mind to support us, our community, people of color, no matter what my career would be or what it would look like, because I still didn't know, but I knew who I wanted to help, and that kept me along my journey. Fast forward to senior year, I was completing my degree in Africana Studies and still feeling unsure about what was next. I really decided to focus in on who I was already serving and what I was already doing. At that time, I was ASA president. I was getting more involved in our department at school, and I also was supporting more organizations across the campus, including SGA. And actually, during the aftermath of the passing of Freddie Gray, rest in peace to him, I had the opportunity to meet with our president at the time, President Freeman Rabowski, and he really spoke into my life concerning what I could do and help me to imagine beyond what I thought my career in Africana Studies could be. At first, I tried to box it in to be law or teaching, which was nothing wrong with those things, but it never fully felt like me. And that conversation with him really created another chapter for me where he asked me to consider communications. And upon considering communications, that is when I was able to apply to an internship with a shea butter company that was local to the area, but doing very well at places like Whole Foods and Rite Aid and Giant. And that was a really huge opportunity for me. And I was really nervous to apply because I thought that they wouldn't accept me, being that I didn't have a comms degree or a business degree. But what I was surprised to find out is that they actually accepted me because of my Africana Studies degree and the fact that I would have the understanding of the culture between Africa and U.S. relations, and also that I would understand the audience and the market that they were trying to reach. And that was a really pleasant surprise to me, just seeing that there was careers and fields out there that are looking for that specialty and looking for you to really be an expert or pursuing expertise in that field. And I was able to acquire that internship and move forward. By 2020, after graduating in 2015, that internship turned into a full-time role as a brand manager, and I was finally back in my dream of working in the beauty industry. And what was amazing is I did it all from home. So I would be in this area. I would often have internships or meetings in New York or LA or Miami. But what was really special to me is the fact that I was able to work with a company that was local to the area, from my school that was local to the area, and have that support in both ways. And to know that I went from interning to receiving a job really meant a lot to me. And it's something that also propelled me to even get other opportunities where I worked fully with an agency in New York around 2022 to 2023. And those are all experiences I hold very dear to me, because I know that those connections wouldn't have been made unless I was at UMBC and I was able to learn myself and find myself here, where I feel like what I gained the most from our school is a sense of purpose and a sense of responsibility to community, and seeing that the sum of what we do is really about what we do for one another. And today, I'm really proud to say I'm the PR director of Butter Skin, which is sold at Ulta, Macy's, and Amazon. And whenever I represent the brand or I'm hiring interns or team members, I always try to remember the student that I was, not really sure of what I wanted to do, but just looking for an opportunity. And it's something that I would love to instill in all of you all today. When you think about your UMBC journey and your career here at school, really think about the legacy you're leaving behind and who you want to help. And I have come to know that you never know what connection or what opportunity you make here on campus could change your life, or how you could change someone else's life. And so all of your endeavors, please just remember to reach out to others and make the most and the best of your opportunities here at UMBC. Thank you.
Wow, that was awesome. Thank you so much. So now what we're going to do is transition into talking to our panelists. I'll be asking them some questions, they'll be answering, and then as the audience, you'll have an opportunity as well after to ask them any questions that you may have. So first question, we're going to go down the line. I'm going to have you all answer the same question, okay? Because I know you all have different perspectives, but we'll start first with Jen. If you could first just introduce yourself, your name, your class when you graduated, and what your major was, and then I'll ask the question, okay?
Sounds good.
All right.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jen Wachtel Litwin. I was class of 2015. My major was history, minors in Judaic studies. Oh, here's a microphone. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Jen Wachtel Litwin. I was class of 2015. My major was history. I minored in Judaic studies, German, and art history and museum studies.
Okay, so how did your UMBC education and experience impact what you're doing now, such as career, activities, friends, etc.?
So I'm an archivist at the National Archives downtown in Washington, D.C. So you can probably follow that through line of the history major all the way to the National Archives. Here at UMBC, I learned how to analyze primary sources, how to analyze a primary source, write about a primary source, describe it in a way that historians and other researchers would be able to decide, how should I use this primary source for my research project? And that's a skill that I learned here at UMBC that I use daily in my job. In terms of personal life, some of my closest friends I met here at UMBC. I am going to be the matron of honor for one of my close friends I met here. She was one of my bridesmaids. So those connections, I promise you, if you work on them, they really do last.
Thank you. And if you could same introduction, your major, and when you graduated.
So hello, my name is Jenny Hardman. I graduated December 2023. My majors, I had dual degrees in theater and environmental studies with a writing minor and an honor certificate. And I'm currently doing live animal enrichment programs. Should I answer the?
Yep. So same question for you. How did your UMBC education and experience impact what you're doing now? Career, activities, friends, etc.
Yeah. So the environmental studies department definitely helped with my career currently. Where there's feedback, fun. Okay. Where I'm really able to learn the. There you go. Sorry, I'm now all discombobulated. All right, let me start over. So the environmental studies department really helped with just how to talk to people, which isn't necessarily something people go into GES for, but that was something that I really focused on. Was with the GES department, you could do the BS degree with the more science focus, and the BA, which was the more humanities focused, and that was really, really important to me, just in the classes, learning how different people interact with the environment, how different people have these different just sort of thoughts and the way that we interact with the world around us. And, we tend to think for ourselves, the way that I interact with it is the normal way that people do. But of course, that's not true. Everybody has their own experience going into it. And with the theater department, I've actually been able to have lots of jobs. In Baltimore, right after graduating, one of my professors reached out to me and she said, I'm directing this show in Fells Point. Do you want to be assistant stage manager? And so I was really able to establish professional credits in the theater industry straight out of college because of the amazing work of the professors here, and the way that they were, especially with the theater department, is very, very hands-on. And so you learn how to do all sorts of different things. It was a little hard for me because I started right before COVID did. So some of the hanging the lights and sound equipment classes had to get cut because we were online. But all of the sewing skills, all of the different ways to manage in theater was really all information that I didn't even know was really possible. That was a job that you could do before I came to UMBC, which was really cool, and it's now my favorite thing to do.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dominique Givens, and I graduated last year in 2024. My major was Management of Aging Services with a minor in entrepreneurship. UMBC had,
No, that's okay. How did your UMBC education experience impact what you're doing now?
It has had a tremendous impact on where I am now. I started off with Management of Aging, well, not started off, but when I started coming to the school, I realized that it was going to change my life. And entrepreneurship and Management of Aging Services both changed the way I think for the better. And I think that without UMBC, I would not be in the same path that I am now.
All right, and Courtney.
Hi, everyone. My name is Courtney Cavan. I am the Chief Operating Officer for a medical device startup here in the Baltimore area. So we develop new medical technologies and try to get them through the FDA. I graduated from UMBC in the spring of 2022. And then I got my master's in the summer of 2023, so I kept it going.
Your major?
Chemical engineering with a minor in biotechnology. Minor in biology. My master's was biochemical with a minor in biotech, so I kind of stayed with the same thing for both degrees.
Gotcha. And so how did your UMBC education and experience impact what you're doing now?
So I actually run the company with somebody that also went to UMBC. We didn't meet at UMBC. We were here at the same time. Our paths never crossed. He happened to be at Okamoka in Arbutus at the same time as somebody that was in my capstone. He looked at her computer, realized she was chemical engineering, asked if she wanted a job. She said no. I wanted the LinkedIn connection. On the hunt for 500, I connected with him. He messaged me and asked if I wanted a job. Seems super sketch, but now here we are 3 years later, running a company, and then I did a couple different activities here, and I kept them going outside of UMBC. So I was on the dance team here, and now I teach dance. So when the pandemic hit, things got weird for me. From living on campus to being home to not coming back. It was a weird time. So my time on the dance team ended, but I started teaching right away that fall. So I now am a dance teacher for the last 5 years.
All right. Thank you. So, look, you can come to UMBC and be a CO 3 years later after you graduate. Just saying. So, it can happen. It can happen. All right. Sophia.
Hi, everyone. Sophia again. And the question?
How did your UMBC education experience impact what you're doing now? Career, activities, friends?
Everything. Yes. So my career in PR, I would say, is 80% research. And UMBC really taught me how to research and cater information to the audience I'm researching for, and being able to uncover that and relate it to multiple audiences with multiple interests that they may have. And I would also say the reputation of UMBC has been great for me. Actually, some of my PR clients have actually hired me because they were alum that were before me or seeing what I was doing and really admired it. And so I would say the community aspect of UMBC has also been beneficial to me, as well as just being able to apply the skills I actually learned in real life. So often we wonder, am I going to actually use this in my career? And I get to use it because I am able to, take information, synthesize it quickly, or even knowing how to find sources. So I would say all of those things have been helpful.
All right, so we'll go to the next question, and we'll do it that way. So, Jen, did you know what you wanted your major to be when you arrived at UMBC?
I kind of joke that I was born knowing I wanted to be a history major, but that's not exactly true. For a while there, I thought I wanted to be an English major. I realized, though, that what I loved to read in literature was historical fiction, and I love to read history specifically. So I realized, well, if this is what I really enjoy, then why don't I just major in it? And I realized as much as I loved reading and writing, I really like to apply those skills to the study of history and to the analysis of primary sources. So when I got this form, when I arrived here as a freshman and it said I was undeclared, I was actually surprised because in my mind, I was always declared to be a history major.
All right, thank you. Jenny?
So for me, the answer is yes and no. I knew I wanted to be a theater major. I did not know about the environmental studies bit, which is a little bit weird because when I told people, hi, I'm going to go to UMBC for theater, and they said, UMBC has a theater department? Yes, and it's really good, so you should come see our shows. And really what it was is the Honors College kind of helped me figure out this sort of other half of what I wanted to do. Because I was just doing theater, and then for the first semester that you're an honors student, you do the honors forum where they have different professors come and talk about like different things that they're studying, and then you have to like write something up about it. And one of the GES professors came and talked, and instead of writing like the 400 words it was supposed to be, I wrote like 2,000 in 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, so I think I care about this a little bit. And so I started with maybe I'm going to be a minor, and then when the pandemic hit and like all of the plans kind of changed, and I'm like, I should just do another degree. I should just do dual. It was going to be double major. But because there was like no overlap between them, there was like no downside to just getting the 2 degrees. So I did dual degree in both of them, and I do not regret that. It was really great.
Awesome, thank you. Dominique?
So I don't think well, let me start here. So 2016, I graduated from high school, and then I went to Boston University. I went there, I was wanting to be a neurosurgeon, and my major was neuroscience with a minor in biomedical engineering. I was acing my neuroscience classes, everything was going great, except for chemistry, and it was freezing cold in Boston, and I was missing my family way too much. So I decided to move back, took a gap semester, transferred to UMBC, and applied to some other schools. But when I came to UMBC, I saw that also we didn't have a business major, and I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do? So I decided to just try out communications. Wasn't my cup of tea, no offense to anybody that's studying it now or wants to, but I decided, let me think about this. And I had a friend that was an ambassador for the Management of Aging Services major in the Erickson School that hosts that major. And he introduced me to the classes and encouraged me to take them, and said, just try it, just give it a try, see what you think, and if you hate them, move on. If you don't, then keep it. So I took 2 courses, fell in love, and then decided to pick up entrepreneurship as a minor. Entrepreneurship was mind-blowing. The classes that I took, like, seriously made a difference, and then I realized I wanted to combine my major to make my career path. So basically, what I really want to do one day is open up an affordable senior housing community and try to engage the community in and outside of that living situation to make sure that that community lasts long after I'm gone. And that's kind of what inspired me to get into management of aging services and entrepreneurship.
Thanks. All right, Courtney?
So I came into UMBC knowing exactly what I wanted to study. So it was chemical engineering on the bio track, and at orientation I added the biology minor. So I knew it from the jump. However, I don't think you know what chemical engineering is ever, honestly. I still don't know. Like I have 2 degrees in it, and I'm like, yeah, I think this is what I do. And you definitely don't know from an outside perspective. So I went into it thinking it was one thing that it really isn't. Like I knew I didn't want to do coding-based engineering, and I knew I didn't want to be just a biology minor or major. So I tried to do it my way. So I did the chemical engineering with the biology minor. To this day, couldn't tell you what a chemical engineer does. There's 100 of us out there. We all have different jobs. Lots of them, of the ones I graduated with, are at Northrop and Exxon, and we didn't study any of those things in class. So just because, I knew what I wanted, I don't think I actually understood what my degree was until the very end, until I had my job. And I was like, okay, so this is what they expect.
All right. Well, since you have the mic, Courtney, we're going to ask you the third question, and then we'll come back this way.
Okay.
Just switch it up a little bit. So what motivated you to pursue your current career path? Were you always following this path? And if not, what inspired the change?
I was a part of the Center for Women in Technology Scholars program here at UMBC, and we have some courses, some programs that you partake in as an affiliate, as a scholar. It's all over the place. But one of them was my freshman year, and they talked about, what is it that you want in life? What is your goal out of your career? Not just like to have a job, but what is it? And mine was always, I want to make affordable medical treatment for everybody. Everyone has issues, and there's cancer treatment, and those that can afford more get the newer stuff, the better stuff. And I want to change that. I lost that in my time at UMBC because as you get to a junior and senior, you focus on getting the job and the internships. So I ended up working for the Federal Aviation Administration, and it was great, but I felt that calling, that I was meant for more, like, not that government work's not important, but I was meant for more than bringing airplanes closer together in the sky. So I went back to my roots, and now I work in medical devices to make them affordable and get treatment to people who can't always have it. So that's why I went into my majors, because I knew that's what I wanted. And then while there was some shifting, my major brought me back to my career and what my focus was.
Thank you. All right, Dominique, so question for you, same thing. What motivated you to pursue your current career path? Were you always following this path? And if not, what inspired the change?
So as you know, I had a long time in college, 2016 to 2024. That was a while. I don't recommend it. You can finish faster than that. However, my major, it definitely impacted. I never once thought that I wouldn't want to help people. As a neurosurgeon or helping older adults, like, I wanted to be able to give access to people who needed help. And older adults are who we are becoming. That's what we are going to be. Everybody in this room ages. And the thing about it is, it doesn't have to be a struggle. It doesn't have to be so ugly. It can be a beautiful thing if you put in the work and the effort to make it a beautiful life for yourself and people around you. So when I decided to switch my major and my focus from like science to more like humanities and arts and management of aging, I decided that basically I still wanted to help people, and I still wanted to create my own thing. Because yeah, you can work for someone your whole life, but you can also create and come into a place where your two hands created this and you did this, and you can put your name on it. And not only that, but the communities that built that for you and helped you get there can come with you. So the reason why I chose those majors was a long journey for me, but at the end of the tunnel, it definitely impacted my life in the best way that I couldn't even imagine. So.
All right, Jenny, same question. What motivated you to pursue your current career path? Were you always following this path? And if not, what inspired the change?
So my decision to sort of go into this like informal education thing, it came out of the fact that doing those 2 degrees, the theater and the environmental studies, was really, really rare. I think like the GES department told me I was like the 4th person in 10 years to do it. So whenever I would start, in the first day of class, and they'd be like, oh, everybody go around, what's your name, what's your major? And then I would say my majors are environmental studies and theater, and everyone would have this look of like, oh, okay, like what are you gonna do with that? And sometimes they would ask me directly, what are you gonna do with that? What are you planning to? And so like very early on, I had to figure out like, what do I wanna do with this? What is it that I like? And so I would think about like the different, like the things that I like to do is like internships and different volunteer work. It was always like working with animals and helping people. I never wanted to be like a teacher in a classroom, but I really liked working like with kids and getting them really excited about nature and the environment. And so like that's what I decided, like that's what I would like to do. So I wanted to be one of those people when you go to like the zoo or the aquarium and they're there and they're like holding like the big snake or like telling you about sharks, like any of that, like that's the person that I wanted to be. I wanted to be working with the public, and I wanted to teach them things and see that make them see the world differently than they had before.
All right, thanks. And then Jen, same question. What motivated you? Well, you said you were born a history major, right? But yeah, if you just want to talk a little bit about that, what motivated you to pursue that current path?
Sure. So while I may have been born a history major, I didn't actually know what I wanted to do with that major until I got here. So I spent my 4 years here figuring that out. So you might have heard the long litany of minors that I added. I have the German minor, I have the Art History and Museum Studies minor, I have the Judaic Studies minor. That was me figuring out, okay, what's my area of interest within history? At the same time, I was a humanities scholar here at UMBC, and so I learned about the importance of learning about who we are and about the importance of access to arts and humanities education, and along with that, access to historical documents. So I used my time here to figure out, okay, now that I have this knowledge of the humanities, what do I want to do with it? I actually started working, my very first archives job was right here on campus in the UMBC library, the AOK library, in the special collections, where I had to go there for my History 101 Introduction to History class, and I loved doing research there. I basically talked to the archivist there and said, what do I have to do to be on the other side of that desk? So it turned out there were student jobs opening, and I ended up working there for, I want to say 3.5 years, and they advised me on where I could take my career from there. If I wanted to really pursue this career of being an archivist, then I needed to get my master's degree. So we can talk about how I went on to get my Master's of Library and Information Science and my Master of Arts in History. I also, at the time, thought that I wanted to work at a place like the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum with my focus on Judaic Studies and German. And I realized while working here and while learning here that my interest really wasn't so focused on one area, but actually access to all kinds of archives. And that was a good decision because, as I mentioned, I work at the National Archives. I work with U.S. history, so it was really important for me to keep an open mind about where I wanted to work and keep an open mind about what kinds of documents have value. It's all kinds of documents have value to share with the public. So I had that motivation, and UMBC really helped me figure out where to focus it.
All right, thank you. And Sophia, what motivated you to pursue your current career path? Were you always following this path? And if not, what inspired the change?
Yes, so. Hello? Okay. Yes, so for me, what I experienced was that what I was learning in the classroom was also being reinforced in my extracurricular activities. And what that looked like was being a part of African Student Association. We used to have these weekly meetings where we would discuss different topics concerning culture and pop culture, politics, etc. And in addition to that, we would have events and things to organize the community within the school that everyone was welcome to. And as I started leading those events and having to learn about budgeting and coordinating and what an experience can do to actually educate people, that's when I realized that, oh wait, like there's something to this communications industry or communications aspect of things, because what I was getting to experience was that fun can also advance people, or things that people enjoy can also make a difference. I used to have this mindset that making a difference looked a certain way, like
like suit and tie type of way. I didn't recognize that even in people's social lives and social activities, the products they use, why we use it, where we go, etc., also has an impact on us as people. And so I would say being able to work and enjoy organizations and help lead them, as well as what I was learning in school, is what really helped me to decide on my major and eventually led me to my career, because I was seeing that a lot of what we enjoy as people, like when we're done with work or even that we use to prepare for work, has to do with things that are thought out. Like somebody's thinking about what you're listening to, what you're wearing, what you enjoy. And those activities really helped me to think about it and think about how I can impact them in a positive way.
All right. So we'll just go right with you and then go down. Okay, so how did UMBC's resources or programs impact your college experience, like academic resources, extracurricular or co-curricular activities, study abroad, Shriver Center, any of this? So how did they impact your college experience?
Sure. So I already mentioned ASA. We know I love that. But I would say also, honestly, our professors. I had really amazing professors, Dr. Chukwu included. And I think just the time they took to do office hours, it sounds so simple, but I really spent a lot of time in office hours and being able to ask, why something was off on a paper or why that certain grade occurred. And it wasn't just to be concerned with my GPA, because I realized soon in school, at UMBC at least, that it was more than my GPA. It was really to understand and actually learn what was happening. So I would say those like one-on-one office hours with my professors was very helpful. Another tool I really used, I really loved, I'm forgetting the name right now, but the library, like the study lab?
Oh, what is it? The resource?
Yes.
The retriever
Resources or something?
I should know
RLC, yes.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah, the Retriever Learning Center. I spent
yeah.
a lot of time in the RLC. I really loved that space, like the faculty that was there, as well as just even the space to study and use the whiteboards and connect with other students. Like I'd be there studying for a history exam, somebody else is studying for chemistry, but maybe they might show me how to use a certain tool. So I would say that the library, I also spent a lot of time there being able to interact and also advising the Shriver Center. I wish I interacted with the Shriver Center sooner. When I was a sophomore, because I transferred in, or if I was here as a freshman. So I would encourage that for all of you. But yes, I would say that everyone here was really willing to help if I took the time to reach out. And so, yeah, those main things, the library, Shriver Center, and my professors for sure.
Just a quick side question, Sophia. How much extra did you pay for those resources?
They were free.
What?
Yes, they were just a matter of time.
So this resource is available and
Yes.
you're not paying anything extra.
At all. Please use it.
Okay, all right, thank you. Jen, same question. How did UMBC's resources or programs impact your college experience?
Sure. Shout out to the library again, always. So if you haven't gone to one of their, I'm so sorry. Is this better? Yeah. Okay. So if you haven't gone to one of their sessions on how to use library resources like library databases, go. The librarians are amazing, and they'll walk you through the entire process. I definitely use those resources for all of my classes. I also mentioned the Humanities Scholars Program. I cannot stress enough the importance of having a single advisor with me throughout the 4 years who wasn't just focused on my major, who was really focused on me as a whole person and getting me through not just my major, but all of my minors and all of my programs, and helping me figure out what I wanted to do after college. Also, part of the Humanities Scholars Program was a semester abroad. So I spent my semester abroad in Salzburg, Austria, where I got to use my German minor, which was a fully immersive experience where I was earning classes towards my degree, at the same time gaining my independence. I was a junior in college. This was my first time managing my own finances, speaking another language. I was on another continent. It was important, and by the time I came back as a senior, I was ready to basically take charge of my career and prepare for graduate school after college. I also want to give another shout out to the Shriver Center and doing internships while in college. I mentioned that I spent my time at UMBC figuring out what I wanted to do with that history degree. Not just academically, but also in terms of internships. I worked at the UMBC Library, I interned at the Holocaust Museum, I interned at the National Electronics Museum and the Jewish Museum of Maryland, basically trying to figure out, using the internship resources we had here, what am I learning from these experiences and what which one of these experiences is something that I want to take with me after college. And what the Shriver Center provided was interview prep. I cannot stress enough how much I needed rehearsals of interviews to be able to land those positions. Also, they reviewed my resume, my very first resumes. I highly encourage visiting them and using those resources that are available, because they are what led to me getting my internships, which then led to me gaining experiences that led to my master's and my job. So shout out again to the libraries, the Humanities Scholars Program, and the Shriver Center.
And Jen, surely the interview prep and resume help, that was an extra fee, right?
Nope, you're already paying for it in your tuition.
Well. All right. Jenny, next, same question. How did UMBC's resources or programs impact your college experience?
So I won't mention the library and Shriver Center again, but those, again, very, very good and very, very helpful. But more on like a personal life sort of thing, like just having like this space to really have like communities. Like I was part of the ASL club that was on campus, and like we were like a very, kind of with COVID again, a little bit wonky. But like we were able to like stay friends like for the 4 years, and like just being able to like have these communities of people around you, and especially with like the honors college, like, and with the theater department, like you knew everybody. And so it's like I could go up to any of the professors and be like, I need help with this, or can you give me advice on this? Or I was a like a research, I don't know, I was like kind of like the final research assistant for one of my theater professors who was writing a book on puppetry and Star Wars. And it's like now I like helped with the book, and like that's really cool, and that's something that we were able to do because like everybody, like the feeling of like community in this place is just really, really amazing. And having all of those different places to meet out in the library, just like out, just on the quad, just like hanging out in places and being able to form those connections with people that can just like lead you into all of these amazing things that you wouldn't have necessarily done before on your own.
Awesome, thank you. Dominique, how did UMBC's resources or programs impact your college experience?
So there are three major programs that I want to point out. The first one is entrepreneurship as a minor. I don't want to reveal too much because it's pretty shocking how like the teachers and professors in that minor change your mind. But you should give it a try if you really think about it. Or if you want to work for someone forever, I still think you should give it a try, because you never know how it'll change your mindset on businesses and what they are and how they can be created. The second thing I wanted to point out is definitely internships, for sure, because whether your my major required it, and most majors at UMBC do. If it doesn't, do it, and do it paid, because we don't work for free. But not only did the internship give me money, it gave me mentors, it gave me opportunities, it opened the door to my career now, and I work for affordable housing for seniors. But I'm transitioning, so upcoming, stay tuned. But I think that those two things were really impactful. And the third thing I want to point out is just trying to stay connected to the people that you meet here. And the program specifically for that was that impacted that for me was with the Mosaic Center for Cultural Diversity. They had a program called the Multicultural Leadership Program. And that program, we actually, for a whole semester, me and a couple other students sat there and came up with how we could be better leaders by drawing on our own cultural, social, and environmental experiences. And that was really impactful. It taught me a lot about how to be a leader and how to stand up in a room full of people and still understand that it's not necessarily, you don't have to be born a leader to be special. You create that with the hard work and dedication and kind of just influencing people to hear you out and like really connect with people and be authentic with people. So that was really impactful for me. Those three things were crucial for my experience at UMBC.
Thanks. And Courtney, how did UMBC's resources or programs impact your college experience?
There's been a lot of great things named, the library, the Shriver Center, no need to repeat them. But for me, it's just more of taking advantage of everything UMBC has to offer. Like, it sounds really silly, and you think you're going to do it anyway, but you're not going to do it. I got my FAA job at the career fair because I was standing in the super long Exelon line because all chemical engineers want to intern for them. And the FAA guy was yawning. Like, he was so bored at his own table. I kind of made fun of him, and then he heard me make fun of him, and then it was a whole thing. But I got my job that way. And then I got an internship with them, and then the pandemic hit, and I got to work for the government at home, but I was getting paid for commuting to DC. It was a really win-win situation for me. And that lasted me for 2 years. I ended up being an employee for them after my internship, all because he was bored and I went to the career fair. Would have never happened otherwise. I didn't even make it to the Exelon table. I gave up. I was like, they're not going to hire me. Their GPA requirement's too high. I don't even know why am I in this line. So it's things like that. Go to the things that you think, yeah, everyone's going to do it. Everyone goes to certain things. Do it anyway. Go to the tables you don't expect to go to. Like, there's certain majors that all of you of that major are going to go to that table. Go to that one, but then pick a different one. Expand yourself. And UMBC has tons of events to show you the things that are out there that aren't just for your major. And I think that's really important, that just because you don't think it applies to you doesn't mean that's true. And UMBC tries to promote a bunch of different things, so just kind of pay attention. And Sophia, I was going to say the same thing. Professors. They're a resource that UMBC has that isn't advertised, right? It's not on their list of amenities the community has to offer you, but they're pretty great. I had a professor my junior year that said, if your GPA is X, go right to your PhD. If your GPA is X, or Y, go for your master's, because professional school is a huge thing that gets talked about in the engineering science majors. I didn't have the GPA for the PhD. I also didn't want a PhD, but I checked that box for master's. And then he was like, yeah, we have a 4+1 program for our College of Engineering and IT. So then I got to do that. It was super easy application process. I was already a student here doing well in my major. They were going to let me in to continue. Like, it was a no-brainer, because UMBC wants you to continue to go to school here, to continue to grow. They're going to foster that. And I think you get assigned advisors at different stages. You get assigned different people and mentors to help you out. If you are struggling with that connection, if it isn't benefiting you, if you feel like you need more, or your advisor isn't advising you or answering your questions in the way you want them to, talk to somebody else. Talk to an advocate that will listen to you, because they'll give you the person you want. It's okay to be like, hey, I know this is who was assigned to me, or this is who I'm meeting with right now. I have questions, they're not really helping me. Can you guide me in a direction that'll get me there? UMBC is about fostering and building that community, so go to your professors, go to an advisor. If you're not getting the answers you want, you're still confused, you still need help, ask somebody else. It's okay, even if you're assigned that person.
All right, so our next question, and we'll start with Sophia. What are you most proud of from your UMBC experience?
I am most proud of having a sense of purpose. Yes, having a sense of purpose. I think not to toot my own horn, but I'm good at a lot of things and I have a lot of interests. And I think that you don't always know what you want to do until you know who you're doing it for. And I think UMBC helped open my eyes to the person I am and who I'm called to. And so that's what I would say I'm most proud of, the purpose that I felt from being at this school.
All right. Same question, Jen. What are you most proud of from your UMBC experience?
By the way, absolutely toot your own horn. That's why you're here. So I am most proud of my undergraduate research award and presenting at Undergraduate Research and Creative Achievement Day. If any of you have the opportunity to do that, please do it. I highly encourage it. It was great pre-professional experience in presenting at a research conference to present your own original research. So I presented on the Shanghai Jewish ghetto during the Holocaust, based on my own original research that I had done throughout my senior year under the guidance of my history advisor and the Honors College. It was an honors thesis. It was an intensive writing process, and I was very proud to be able to showcase the results of that work in a presentation open to the public. So yes, I would say keep an eye out for those URA award announcements. And if you're not ready for that yet, make sure you at least attend Undergraduate Research and Creative Achievement Day so you can get inspired, like I got inspired to do it.
Awesome, thank you. Same question, Jenny. What are you most proud of from your UMBC experience?
So I think one of the things that I'm most proud of is just like the array of things that I was able to do here, and like the array of just such different things that I was able to like dig deep in on research, because I really like researching. I love writing papers. I'm that weird kid who is excited by essays. But just like the things that I was able to do, and like looking at the world in a brand new way that I would have never thought of to look at it before, was now that's something that that's like something that I gained here, and now I'm like, that's just part of who I am now, which is really just kind of exciting. So it's not like an award that I can show people, but I feel like I've changed like something in myself because of it, which is really nice.
Awesome. Same question, Dominique. What are you most proud of from your UMBC experience?
It's gonna sound really cliche, but graduating. Graduating was really tough for me. It wasn't an easy road at all. I mean, 8 years tells you enough, but I lived on and off campus. I did basically commuted most of my time here at UMBC. So meeting people and doing stuff and trying to was a little difficult. It was I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't that easy, but finally, you know, overcoming those challenges, even like from going to campus and not really knowing like I didn't have much support from family. My mom ended up moving to the islands, and she's very supportive over the phone, but I needed like financial help and other things, and UMBC was really critical in helping me find those resources. I even experienced some homelessness during that time at UMBC, and if I can do it, you can do it. And you can do it in less than 8 years. Once again, do it in less than 8 years. But it was really inspiring to know that I could do something and get a degree at my own hands, knowing all the challenges I faced, knowing that it wasn't going to be easy, knowing that I had the support of great staff, great professors, great mentors, great friends. That really helped me get through it. And so if you are struggling, reach out to someone. Say something to someone, because UMBC has way more resources and way more people than you know that could help you really face it. So, yeah.
All right. And same question, Courtney, what are you most proud of from your UMBC experience?
Yeah, I did it without ChatGPT. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, in all seriousness, I agree with Dominique. I can sit here and I can say I'm the COO of a medtech company, and we fundraise Series A, and we build new stuff, and it's really cool what I do now. But it wasn't easy. If you would have told me my sophomore, junior, even senior year that I'd be sitting here not that many years later in the position I'm in, I would have never believed you. So for me, my greatest achievement of UMBC was to keep going. There was a lot of times where I was like, I'm going to have to take this class for the third time. Or organic chemistry, I can't stand you. So I took it at community college twice. Not even like once, because I wasn't that good there. I had to do it the second time. And so I think that I just kept going is what I'm most proud of, because there was a lot of times, you can ask my mom. I told her, Mom, I'm failing this semester. It's over. It's done with. I'm failing. I got to pick a new major. That didn't happen. But I kept thinking that way. And so, yes, I made it to the end, but just to keep going, especially when things happen, right? The world is weird. I never thought my freshman year that a year and a half later I'd be moving home at spring break and not coming back. Like, that's a weird concept to wrap my head around. So I think if you can just keep going, even when it's really hard, even if you have to change your major 18,000 times or keep taking the same class over and over again until the school tells you can't do it anymore, that it's okay, because you're going to get through it, and then you're going to sit here. And I make sure when I'm hiring, I look at the GPAs not to see how high it is, but how'd you do? Like, did you survive? It's okay if you don't have that perfect 3.75 to a 4.0. That means you struggled, and I know that you can struggle with me in the office, and we'll figure it out together. So I think if you highlight your issues like I have, makes it better at the end, because you can get further in your career without realizing how hard it was for you to get through college.
That's awesome. What you just described is grit, which is something we definitely talk about at UMBC. So here's the final question for our panelists before we open it up to the audience. And I'll start with Sophia. Now I want you all to pay attention to this one. What advice do you have for students exploring majors and career options? So you're getting advice now. Pay attention.
Okay. What advice do I have? Okay. I would say keep an open mind. And not to sound cliche, but like my other panelists mentioned, there are so many events that happen at UMBC, whether there's a speaker at the library or there's an event at the UC, even the student organizations, they bring people in to speak and to do things. I would say be open to attending things that maybe you wouldn't have necessarily attended before, and also being open to internships. I have had so many internships. I interned for the juvenile court when I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. I've interned for fashion brands while I was here. I interned for tech brands. You just never know, and a lot of times the things that you're learning, it can still help you, even if it's just learning administrative things, learning how to be in an environment and express yourself, learning how to show up. So I would say keep an open mind and be willing to attend things that maybe you don't necessarily think are for you, but you're drawn to it in some way. I would attend them.
Awesome. Same question, Jen. What advice do you have for students exploring majors and career options?
I would reiterate again, internships. And when you're looking for internships, think about this is an opportunity to figure out both what you want to do and what you don't want to do. So if you have this one internship and you love it and you decide, I want to be a teacher based on this internship, or I want to be an archivist based on this internship, or I really don't want to be an archivist based on this internship, that's okay. That's what you're here to do. You're here to learn. So really use that opportunity. I would also say, I took an anthropology class while I was here at UMBC. You'll notice I didn't add that to my list of majors or minors. I took that class because anthropology was mentioned often in my history program. I wanted to figure out what it was all about, see if I wanted to maybe double major in it. I decided not to because I learned what I really like by experimenting and taking those classes.
Thank you. Jenny, same question. What advice do you have for students exploring majors and career options?
So first of all, internships. I think we're probably all going to say internships because that really is like I definitely would not do the job that I'm doing today without internships. But sort of like a sidestep of that is if you have the opportunity to do study abroad or just like something, I really wanted to study abroad for a whole semester. Because of COVID, that didn't happen. But I was able to do 3 weeks in Japan with the Honors College, and that was like genuinely a life-changing thing for me. And even if maybe, my sister also did a study abroad for her school. She did not like it. She learned something from that experience, And so just trying things, and even if it isn't maybe what you're expecting, it can be not unexpected in a good way or a bad way, but you can still learn from that. And now this is the sort of thing that I can do when I put my mind to it. And you're also opening your mind to the way that, all of the different ways that people live around the world, all the different ways to be human, which is always a positive in whatever field you go into.
All right, thank you. Dominique, what advice do you have for students exploring majors and career options?
So there's two major things that I want to say for advice. The first is connections. More importantly than any other thing in college, it's not about the money, it's not about the jobs, it is eventually about that. But connections. You never know who you're going to interact with, who will help you to achieve your dreams now or in the future. And you never know how you will do that for that person mutually. So mutual connections and mentor connections. People, not only finding connections with people that are your peers, but people that you see yourself in the future. People that can set you up for a better way of elevating. A teacher, a professor spoke my name in a room that I wasn't in, and that's why I'm here today. So that is something that you need to think about with everybody you interact with. It's not just about who you're in class, if you're worried about who you're in class with, there are all a whole other campus of people that are outside your classes that could potentially change your life one day. And maybe not today or maybe not yesterday or the next week, but it'll change if you really get connected, really try to authentically be there for someone, and you'll see that it pays off a lot. The second piece of advice I wanted to give is build your niche. So whether you're choosing a major that everybody else is choosing, whether it's a specialized kind of course, what you want to do is take, and I liked what Jen had to say about it. She took a lot of specializations to get to where she is today. Without specializing, you're basically just saying, oh yeah, I finished college. Everybody can do that. But really the thing about it is find, and it's not just specializing in your major or your classes or what you're doing academically, it's specializing in people and volunteering in things that you weren't trying before, like get your name out there, get your persona out there, and just try to specialize as much as you can with whether it's who your friend groups are, like how you volunteer, what things you're going for, how you talk to people outside the classes that you never interacted with. That's what you should be doing, because it really makes a difference. It makes a difference on your resume. It makes a difference when people are looking to hire you. They're like, wow, that major and minor never go together, just like you were saying. And it pays off. It definitely does. And it makes you look more unique. You're already a unique person. Just make it more special.
All right, and finally, Courtney, what advice do you have for students exploring majors and career options?
So take advantage of what you know, even while you don't know what you want. So you may not know your major or where you're gonna focus, but take advantage of what you do know. So all of my culture and art credits were ballet classes. So I've been dancing since I was 3, so it was a no-brainer for me to take dance as a way to get the credits I needed without taking too much brain power, right? I knew I needed to focus on my engineering classes. If I can stand in a ballet class at 8 a.m. a few times a week, I'm still asleep. Like, I'm not using much of my brain for my body to remember to do that. And then, flash forward a few years, because I have collegiate art credits in the dance world, I can have a dance resume that allows me to teach. So I'm allowed to teach certain classes at dance studios because I actually spent time doing it in college. But it didn't take away from my major. It didn't take away from my actual career now. But I used what I knew while I had to focus on other things to figure it out. And while this isn't necessarily advice, I think it's good to know that it's okay to not know what you want your major to be. It's okay to not have internships all the time. I had one. I had a singular internship in my time at UMBC. It got me where I needed it to, so it checked the box. But it's okay if your classmates, especially because I was with a lot of pre-meds, a lot of engineers, they were having internships every summer. They were crushing it in the classes. They had their jobs lined up well before we graduated. I wasn't one of those, and I think it feels better to know that it's okay if you're not. Like, there's going to be lots of amazing people here at UMBC, but you don't have to be shooting for the stars 24/7. You can figure out your major, and then in the next 5 years, you might be shooting for the stars, right? You don't know where you're going to be, so it's okay to not know everything and not have it figured out.
All right, I want to thank our speaker, our keynote, and our panelists. Thank you. Now, this is your opportunity. If any of you have questions that you would like to ask the panelists, feel free to raise your hand or, just jump in. If not, I know sometimes you can get a little shy. You can feel free to come up to them. They'll be here for a little bit. But if you want to ask a question, now is your opportunity. Y'all are being shy. It's okay. It's okay. They gave a lot of gems, and I hope that you guys were really listening. And I think a big theme that came across was to use your resources that, again, you're already paying for. No extra charge. Monique.
Not a question, but a comment. I can appreciate the transparency that you all shared. Not just about the straight paths and not just about the plans that you had and it worked out. As an academic advisor, oftentimes we speak to students whose plans sometimes crumble in the office. And hearing this vulnerability is, I hope students who are listening could see themselves here. That even though plans may crumble, you can still pick yourself up and move forward. And sometimes the aftermath is even better than you anticipated. So I just want to thank all of you for that.
And I also just wanted to say about Dominique and
Proud to have graduated. That's not a small feat. We've had many people come through these walls and hallways and don't leave with a degree. So you should always be proud of that. Dr. Barron.
I'm interested, what specifically did you do in your assignments and with respect to the Shriver Center? What did you actually, where were you assigned to?
Sure. So I don't know if it's called this same class now, but I took Prac 101, or it might have been 102. So I had specific assignments to do on Blackboard that were related to where I was doing my work and my internships, where I needed to talk about what I had needed to write about what I had learned in my practical experience, basically essay format of, okay, this is the skill I learned, this is how I applied it, and this is how it's going to go forward in my career. Does that fully answer your question?
Which of the jobs that you had were related to the Shriver Center experience?
So that would be the UMBC job, where I filled out these assignments, where I would say, okay, well, I learned this skill, and then I would using Blackboard, talk with other students about what skills they were learning while going through their Shriver Center experience.
So you had an on-campus job that you explored? I'm just trying to get at the actual
differences. Yeah,
assignment.
I was able to intern at the juvenile court in downtown Baltimore, and it was a very unique time for me to learn because it was at the height of a lot of police brutality and things of that nature. So I got to see firsthand how that system works. And even though I didn't go the legal path anymore, it was even just interesting to see how they treated the young people, like even using terms like respondents or things like that. They were very mindful about like the branding you put on people. And now I work with products, but it really instilled in me the importance of language. Yes, like how you describe something.
That's a good point. Any other questions? Now is your opportunity. Yes.
I apologize. I came late. You may have already answered this, but were there any resources, thinking back on your time here, was there any resources that you wish your department provided or that the university provided for you? I know some of you said like study abroad and things of that nature.
So as an engineering major, there wasn't a lot of study abroad, not be in your engineering courses every semester opportunities. So I couldn't even look that way. It was only offered once a year. And if I wasn't in it, I would graduate a whole year behind everyone that I was currently in class with. So looking back resource-wise, I feel like I wish there was just a skosh bit more flexibility in the College of Engineering and IT. It's very structured, which I love a plan. I walked into my advising appointments with plans. But it meant there was no real opportunities to explore, right? There was no study abroad. I was on the dance team with somebody who did the Disney college program. She took the semester off. There was no way I could have ever done that. Like, there's no taking a semester off without taking an entire year off. And so I wish that my major specifically had more flexibility to see what, like the world has to offer, so to speak, and not just like course.
Gotcha.
I feel similar about study abroad. So I can't even remember if our major expressed the program through the major or if it was like me seeing it elsewhere on campus, but I didn't always have an opportunity to actually prepare to do it. So by the time I'm like, wait, I think I do want to do this, you just get overwhelmed because it's like, oh, I have to find out financially or do this or do that. And I was approaching my senior year, so I just didn't have the capacity. But I think if it's something that was instilled earlier or the steps to do that would have been helpful. I think also being able to connect with former students. I think our school does a great job of that now, but when I was here, I would have loved to come to things like this or to connect more with people in that way.
Gotcha. All right. Any other questions? All right. If we don't have any more questions, as I mentioned, they're going to hang around for a little bit till around 1:30-ish. So if you want to come up and ask them something individually, we still have some food left. If you didn't get a T-shirt, we can help you out with that. But again, thank you all so much for coming. And again, thanks to our panelists.